Get my little heater here started so it feels good. Hey, Jamie. Yeah, I'm in here in the shop again today. Of course, we got a lot better signal up here at the shop than we do at home, and that's the main reason that I come up to the shop. It's not too bad cool up here this morning. I've got the little foot heater right here beside me working, and so I can stay warm and and warm up to what everybody's talking about and everything like that and all that sort of stuff. I was going to kind of talk about my wife and I. We watched that long movie last night, Oppenheimer, which is I like to watch stuff like that because I mean it's a true story. Of course, it was Hollywood got a hold of it. AgTech, hey, great, glad to see you in here. Ooh, storming up there at Saskatchewan, is it? Oh God, I hate that. Uh, I tell you, I'm glad that we live in the part of the country. I mean, we've not even had a single flake of snow down here, and I'm glad of it too. I don't want any. We're into March now. Now, of course, in 1960, when I was a young boy, we had some of the biggest snowstorms we ever had in the year 1960 in the state of North Carolina. I mean, we had three snowstorms in a row every Wednesday, I believe it was. We were getting snow, and so we're not out of the woods with March by no stretch of the imagination. But the way El Nino is going right now, I think we are. Hopefully, we are. Uh, we've been fortunate to more southerly breezes, and we hadn't got that Canadian air blast coming at us as much. So I hope you're doing all right, AgTech. I've got a little light jacket on this morning because I just wanted to kind of put a jacket on, but I could probably sit up here with my T-shirt on and not even feel bad and everything. Oh wow. Yeah, send me some pictures or whatever. Yeah, I'd love to see some pictures or whatever you got. I like watching the national news and the weather and kind of seeing what we're getting. Uh, I guess we're getting a global warming. You're getting a global cooling. That's what it is. Uh, we're we're all in this thing together. That's the thing about it. It's called weather, and I don't worry about it. All the smart people want to tell us how to live our life as far as the weather, as far as our politics, as far as our money. They all want to get together and tell us what to do. I would hate to be in Canada, although I see a lot of resurgence in Canada right now, ag tech, with that conservative guy. I really like him. He's smart. Um, the guy that's going up against Trudeau and everything. I hope y'all can elect him because he definitely looks like somebody that can turn y'all around in Canada. Because, I mean, if the Canadians hadn't got tired of being locked down and told what to do so bad, I mean, hopefully they'll let them get to the ballot box and get Trudeau and his Liberal Party out of there. I mean, that's ridiculous what's happening up in Canada. But we can't say anything. We got just as many crazies in the South as we do to the north of us in Canada. I mean, south of the border there, we got a lot of crazies out here that want to go along with a guy who's got not even a lick of sense and think that he can be our president and everything. I mean, how dumb is that? How dumb is it to hire the dumbest person on the block to be your president? And that's what we've got at this point. And you know, and the thing about it is the corruption that's going on. I mean, for somebody to be charged with a crime and charged $355 million for not hurting anybody. There was no crime. No one was hurt. All money's paid back. Where was the crime? There was no crime. The only crime was that the Democrats want to bury Donald Trump. I mean, and if we let our government get that out of kilter, the average person has got no security. But I mean, you can't go to the bank and say, well, here's what I've got for collateral, and then get fined and get penalized or get turned down because that's the way they're doing banks now. I mean, it's crazy. Minus 12 degrees Fahrenheit here. Oh, wow. Ooh, God. Oh, God. I don't see how you can work. Well, you can't work in those conditions. I know you got to be inside, I hope. I don't want to. I don't want to exchange your temperatures with our temperatures. I think it's. Let me look on my thermometer here. I think it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit down here right now. I don't know where Jamie's at. Jamie, you're what is temperature? You're probably in Florida. You're probably 65 degrees already. Yeah. Well, I guess so. I guess the snow does prevent the forest fires, and that's probably a good thing up there in that region too. I know that. I mean, nature has a way of correcting itself, and it is something. We've gotten a lot of rain down here. We went from a drought situation just a few months ago to we're way above the drought now, and we've had plenty of rain in the past 4 months, 3 to 4 months. I mean, just in the fall of the year, we were in a drought situation, but now it's flipped completely. We've had plenty of rain, and we're not in a drought situation at all. I'm gonna turn my little heater off here. About to burn me up. Let me see. I'm gonna turn that off. Yeah, I got one of these hard plastic seats here. I was afraid it's going to melt my seat. But I hope you're doing well, Ag Tech and Jamie. Like I said, Jamie, you're probably, if you're still in Florida, I know you're down there about 60 degrees. 64 and overcast. Okay. That's what I was figuring it probably was, because we're 50 here in the Carolinas right now. We're 50 degrees in the Carolinas, and gosh, and then what Ag Tech said it was minus 12. Ooh, golly, 62 degrees colder. I don't think I could take that. I mean, I guess I'd have to, but wouldn't want to. That's for sure. That's for sure. But like I said, I hope your politics get straightened out up there, Ag Tech, and I hope our politics get straightened out. We're in bad shape. We're in bad shape country wise. These two countries. I was watching, like I was saying, I was watching last night the movie Oppenheimer, and it goes to show you by watching that. Now, like I said, I know that movie was featured a lot of Hollywood aspects to it, and Hollywood made it. They tried to glamorize and everything, the actual facts. But when you go back and look at the facts, I like reading and picking up something, picking up a book or a reference point and actually reading about Oppenheimer. I mean, I barely remember it in school. I mean, we didn't talk about it much in school. Of course, he was the father of the atomic bomb, and if it hadn't been for him, we probably wouldn't have. The World War II would have gone on a lot further, and so I'm very thankful for him. But he was treated terribly after the war, and after he did that, he was treated terrible. Because of his his wife was in the American Communist Party. He got out of it and everything, and he had a lot of close ties because he was out there at Berkeley and those left wing colleges and everything, where they always come up with crazy ideas. But to see how the government, the FBI, and everybody tried to destroy him after the fact, and they did basically. They ruined him financially and hurt him, and then finally, right before he died, a year or so before he died, they finally gave him some rewards that he needed. President Johnson, I think, gave him the I forgot what, wasn't a congressional medal, but a medal of honor or whatever for what he had done for the United States, and justly so. I mean, the man, he just basically, if it hadn't been for him and his constituents out there in New Mexico, that we don't know what would have happened. The Russians or the Germans or somebody would have got the atomic bomb first, and they could have ruined us. So we don't know. We don't know how the tides would have turned. So it's a good thing. But then, like I said, then the government turned right around and tried to ruin him. And you can see how the government can turn on a dime and ruin somebody. Like I said, look what they're doing to President Trump, trying to financially ruin him. They can't convict him. They just try to financially ruin him now. And the state of New York and the New York City itself, I guess, or whatever, trying to bring all these charges against him. When you got somebody like Sam Bankman-Friedman, whatever, that actually stole money from people, actually hurt people, and he is not looked as bad as Donald Trump, who borrowed money but paid back every penny, paid it back on time, didn't hurt anybody, and the banks were willing to loan him more money. But this crazy judge says, no, you've hurt somebody. You've hurt the city of New York. I mean, give me a break. Where has anybody been hurt? He brought all this industry. If you remember correctly, the city of New York could not get this one part completed. Donald Trump went in there and said, I'll do it. He did it in a faster time frame than they could do it, got it finished under budget. And what appreciation do they get? None. It goes to show you where a businessman can get something done and they can't, because they're the slow, crooked government. And that's what we have right now. I don't care which side's in charge. We got some crooked people there. I mean, it goes, like I said, it goes all the way back to when, if you watch Oppenheimer and see how crooked the government was trying to ruin him. And when you get the FBI, and that goes to show you, that's the FBI. Gosh, you can't get behind, get in their bad graces in any way, shape, or form, because they ruin people's lives, whether they deserve it or not. It's terrible, terrible. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Hey, Jerome, how are you? And Walter, there's Walter in here. Yeah. Well, I hope they don't, Walter, although I hope they don't get a dime from him. But the sad thing about it is, think of all the money that Trump is having to spend, millions and millions of dollars in legal fees just to defend. I mean, they're wasting all this money just to say he's not guilty. I mean, just to prove his innocence of charges. I mean, that's like somebody say, well, you're beating your wife and we're going to take charges up against you and you're going to have to defend yourself and all this. And then you spend all your money just to try to prove you're not doing that. And then once you're exonerated, then what happens? They don't go, oh, well, we'll give you back $355 million. No, they don't do that. They take the people's money waste it on prosecution on somebody that doesn't need prosecuting, and then they, I don't know. I mean, when you got too much of one side, whether it's right or left, controlling something, you get this imbalance. And right now, we got a terrible imbalance in the state of New York. I mean, a terrible imbalance. Well, probably just mainly New York City and the governor, Kathy Hochul, and I mean, she's gone nuts. And I think what these truckers tried to do in a little way, I knew they wouldn't be successful and haven't been, is to boycott anything going into New York City. I mean, I would almost do that too if it were able to be done, but it's not going to be able to be done because you've got so many major trucking lines and everything else that will feed the city and everything. But the people in New York need to realize how vulnerable they are. If the farmers and regular workers, regular working people, the common folk, get out there and say, we're not going to do anything with New York. We're going to just let New York do its own thing, whatever, and just walk away from it. I mean, they would starve. I mean, you need to be thankful for the guy working on the street, cleaning up the mess in New York. You ought to be thankful for all these people, the cops up there doing their job, and just a common person in that area just to keep New York City alive, because that is the most dependent city in the world. Well, not in the world, I guess, but in the United States for sure. But I mean, they are dependent on the free will of a lot of good people, because if these good people wanted to walk away from New York City, it would be a ghost town in no time flat, because I mean, there's so many people that have no skills whatsoever, that can do nothing other than, book work or uh, some, financial, Wall Street, all this sort of stuff, the acting skills, the arts, or whatever. I mean, people that are what I call non-productive people that don't have their hands dirty. I mean, you need millions of people to get their fingers and hands dirty to keep something like that going. And the people that don't do that type work, that think, the groceries are always on the shelves and that everything's going to be brought to them. If the underclass, or not underclass, if the middle class people that do the work, the working class, I'll say, if they're doing, if they quit doing the work, what would happen to some place like New York City? It would go under. Well, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with the. I mean, I think there's a lot of truckers that support Trump. I mean, maybe not all, but the majority of the ones I know do. Uh, it just it's just one of those things, Walter. Uh, you might see a few here and there uh, that have their opinion, but those is I think the majority of truckers would say, yeah, they support Trump over Biden. But I mean, that's everybody's choice. That's what you got to choose between. Um, it's a free country, and you can do as you please. But I can't see the working class people, if they would band together and try their best, and we don't get undermined by mail-in ballots and all these the undercurrent of corruption. Maybe things will change this time. Maybe if we don't get a pandemic at the last few months, whereas they can make everybody shelter in place. I mean, that's what caused the upheaval last time. I mean, they had a pandemic going in their favor. They had all kind of stupidity, but we'll see. I mean, we got 10 months, 10 months to see if we can turn this country around. I sure hope they can. I sure hope they can. I don't know. We got to be able to do something. Yeah, yeah. Where's Kevin? Where's Kevin and Jerome at now? That's what we need to do. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Ag Tech. Yeah, those groceries don't grow too good at Walmart, do they? Or Kroger or Sam's or Costco's. Yeah, they for some reason or other they don't have a farmer out back planting things, and that's what gets you. I mean, you got people like AgTech who works in the agriculture industries repairing all this big equipment that keeps our bread basket open. I mean, if it wasn't for people like AgTech making sure that equipment is fixed, uh, then we'd be in desperate shape. I mean, it's surprising how few people are doing a majority of the work to keep the bread basket of America and Canada. I'll put Canada in there too because it applies to them too. Uh, to keep the bread basket of this part of the United States and Canada open. I mean, we've got to be thankful when you see some of these farmers that are out there farming thousands of acres of land and getting corn and wheat and just everything we need to sustain life out there in Iowa and Nebraska and South Dakota, North Dakota, like AgTech. He's up in Saskatchewan, and just places like that. That I'm going to get a drink. I got a drink here. It must have come. It came from the grocery store. I guess they made this drink at the grocery store. They must make it there because that's where we pick it up all the time. Yeah, that's the stupidity of some people that don't realize that the common man is out there doing a job every day to build this product, to keep this United States going, and we're giving out money right and left. I mean, it's crazy. We got if and like somebody else was talking about that this bill, they're trying to throw it on the Republic. Oh, they didn't pass the border bill. That's why the border's in bad. No, it's not. If they would just implement the rules and laws that are in place right now, just I don't care. You don't have to pass any new laws. Just take care of the ones we've got now. Move the National Guard down to the border. If we need border patrol, we've got millions of people in the armed services. Move them down to the border. I mean, you got Mexican with their people on the other side protecting Mexico. Move our people down to the border. Say, no, you can't come in. We got these thousands of troops here. Go the other way. Nobody's coming in. Why can't we do that? We could line the border up with people. We don't have to have a fence. We could have the border patrol. And they did it in East Berlin and West Berlin for years. I mean, years they kept the border. You didn't cross over that border. If you did, you'd get shot. And nowadays, I mean, they all know we can't do that. Well, why can't we? Every country in the world except the United States protects its own border. I mean, we're fighting a war over in Ukraine so they can protect their border, but we won't do anything with our military to protect our own border. Now, how stupid is that? We're spending trillions of dollars, not it's almost up into the trillions now of dollars in Ukraine, and we don't spend a, a, a tenth of that or 1% of that on our border. It's crazy. Protect our own border. That's what I mean. We need to do that. Protect our border. Period. I mean, just stop it. Say no, no more. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're wanting to be. Turn around, go back. Go back to where you came from. You know, we don't need we're full. We're full. We don't need you. And you know, everybody talking about, oh yeah, well, we're made of immigrants and everything. That's fine. If you want legal representation to prove that you need to get into the United States to have asylum, that you're the type worker that we need, or you've got something to add good for the United States, well, consider it. But just to randomly open it up and we can see what we're getting. What are we getting? We're getting the worst. We're getting MS-13. We're getting all these people coming in, raping and killing our young women, just disrupting things and stealing and attacking police in New York City, and then turn around and finger you. Say, hey, yeah, we'll give you the finger. We're going to be out of here before you know it. And they were, you know, just stupid things like that. I mean, how can we put up with that? How can we put up? I mean, if you got a water leak, if you got a hose that's our place is leaking, you stop the leak. Well, we got a leak down there at the southern border. We got a bad leak. We got things flooding into the United States, and we aren't stopping it. You stop the leak first. Then, if you need a little bit of water, then you find out how much water you need. You don't go in there and say, "Yeah, we'll just keep letting it run. Eventually, we'll have enough." I don't know. It is so stupid that we've got stuff like that. But we're crazy. We're crazy out there. That's for sure. But getting back to that movie, I like to think about that because it was a long movie. I can tell you that. Good movie to watch though. If you get a chance, it's streaming on. We watched it on Peacock last night. Where I use that streaming service because my wife's been wanting to watch Yellowstone too. So we're going to stream that, and I'm subscribed to that for a while. And they seem to have a few things that we like, and we like streaming as opposed to the commercial TV where they show you 5 million commercials and 15 minutes worth of programming. I just want to see the content. I don't need to be inundated with commercials about Pfizer and other things. So yeah, that's right. That's right, Jamie. I mean, we've got a stupid situation right now. That's for sure. But I mean, what are we going to do? Well, the thing we need to do is to correct things. We need to definitely change what we're doing government wise and correct it this year. Correct it if we can. I mean, that's all we can do. I mean, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's it. But like I said, you know, they always tell us that if you don't study your history, you'll repeat it. And that's why I'm sick and tired of these people trying to rework our history and rewrite our history. Our history is history, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And a lot of times it's bad, and we don't need to change it. I mean, if we had slavery, we talk about the slavery. We don't erase it. We don't change it and say, well, this is the way it is in our books. We're gonna rewrite the Constitution, or we're going to rewrite the way things happened in the 1700s. We're going to say these were bad people. These people were bad instead of good. I mean, if they were good, they were good. If the times were different, which they always are, I mean, you go along with that. I mean, everybody talks about slavery. Yeah, slavery was bad. I mean, who would want to be subjected to slavery? But slavery was the way of life in the 1700s. I mean, are we going to take everybody that was slave owners and crucify them, even though they did a lot of good things? I don't think so. Are we going to lay it out exactly how it was? That's what we need to do. Here's what happened. The way they, I mean, you look at farm plantation owners. They they had a plantation to to make commodities for the United States for people. Had jobs, of course, for people, and of course they had slaves too. And that that was not a good thing. That's why it was abolished. That's why we got away from it. But we totally we don't want to say that never happened. We don't want to wipe it out. We talk about it. We talk about why this was wrong. We talk about why the government at that time shouldn't have been doing this. But we don't totally erase things. We don't take Thomas Jefferson and say, "You're a terrible person. You should have never existed." Well, yes, he should, because he helped write the Declaration of Independence. He helped start with our forefathers. George Washington, the same way. I mean, he was the father of our country. And if it hadn't been for those leaders at that time, we wouldn't be to where we are today. They did some great things. They did some things that are considered bad now. They were doing it in the time what everybody else was doing. And so the normalcy of it at the time was not absurd. It's absurd to look at it now in modern times and to look back at it. But at that time, it was not absurd. So you've got to take everything in its context. I mean, do you say we should have never had, like I said, we should have never had a George Washington or a Thomas Jefferson? No, I think this country would have been way worse off had we not had those men. Way worse off. But we can't condone some of the things they did. I mean that's you just can't. But that was the way times were back then. And we can't look at when we talk about things like that, you can't look at slavery and say, oh, it was all the white man doing. These people do not realize who was capturing all these black men and women over in Africa to ship them overseas. It was the black lords over there gathering up their own people. They were selling their own people. So they're bad people. They are worse to me than the slave owners, because they were actually rounding up people and shipping them off. So that there's bad people, and there will always be bad people in the world. And how do you categorize this? I mean, I think it was funny the other day. They were doing a history thing of Sonny Hostra, who on The View, oh, she's so uppity and mighty and good this, and she's all big on to race relations. It's always race, race, race for her. That's all she wants to talk about. And then it came out that her family were slave owners. Oh my God, what do you do? Your family, your grandparents and great grandparents, you had slave owners in your family. And she was like, I'm not that way. Well, no, you're not. But change all these crazy things, want reparations. I guess Sonny Hofstra, she's going to have to take her millions that she makes and give reparations to these other black people. And, you know, don't, go down and you need to go down to Harlem and start handing out your millions of dollars because, you need to give reparations to people that came from slaves because your people weren't. Your people were slave owners. Boy, I mean, wouldn't the tables be turned there? But she won't talk about stuff like that. She avoids that like the plague because she's too good. She's too uppity. Yeah, well, that's for sure, Walter. I mean, the forefathers would definitely be turning over in their grave to see what's happening in today's world. I mean, it's terrible. And like I said, it's when we let people have power, regardless of the right, left, or whatever. I mean, we going back to that movie Oppenheimer. I mean, it was to me. I liked that. I like the movie. I like for it to stimulate and let you see how crooked our government can be. Of course, that was back in the McCarthyism days when they were trying to find communism everywhere and lock down a lot of actors and everything on the West Coast. And the West Coast, as usually is filled full with too many ultra liberals, and that's what they get. I mean, they got a bad taste of their own medicine. But you know, you get some of these intellectual people that get too smart for their own good, and that's what showed through with the Oppenheimer movie. But I mean, he was a brilliant man, and if it hadn't been for somebody like him that actually looked at physics and theoretical physics to see what we had to have to create the atomic bomb, we would be in bad shape right now. And of course, I kind of like the scene that showed him with Truman in there. If you hadn't seen the movie, and he was talking about he didn't like the fact that he had blood on his hands because he helped invent the atomic bomb. And then Truman told him right quick, said, "I'm the guy that's got blood on his hands." He said, "I'm the guy that told him to drop it." Said, "You only invented it." He said, "But I'm the guy that actually said use it." He said, "So I'm the person. So come to me. You put the blame on me. The buck stops here," as his old saying used to be. The buck stops right there with Truman. And he was a sensible man. He was a sensible man. He was bringing us out of tough times with World War II and everything, and finally finishing off the war. I mean, it's crazy. And we look back at times and everything. I mean, there we had FDR that was a president who actually died in office and who was in declining health. Probably never should have been reelected his last term because they were hiding his health too. So if you study history and you study these things, we get in a tendency to repeat ourselves. So it's crazy. Oh, so the flu's going through your house. Well, I hate that, Joey. Well, yeah, we're doing pretty good down here. Our weather's been pretty good. We've been talking about all the stupidity of your state up there, Joey. How your governor, your good old governor up there, she goes along with everything. But like I was saying, it just amazes me how the New York City they can convict Trump for doing nothing, no harm to anybody, and then instead this Sam Bankman-Friedman, who has some people, all these politicians loved him and everything because he was handing out millions of dollars to them. He's the guy that actually stole money. He's the guy that actually hurt people financially. And they don't say anything much about him. He's sort of like He's a celebrity, and they even kind of some of them still kind of think he's something pretty cool. But instead, somebody like Trump, who actually built something, had a business, built something, created thousands of jobs up in New York City, and put people to work, people that really needed jobs, construction people. And then they want to condemn him because he was able to obtain money from the banks legally, doing the same thing that everybody in real estate and everybody that owns a house or buys a car does. You try to get the most for whatever you have. Now we already know it's a cat and mouse game. I mean, if you got a property and it's worth $600,000, you're going to try to get that or more in value for it, because you know the bank's only going to loan you probably 400,000. They're going to be secure, and instead they're fining Trump for inflating projections of what his value was, whereas that hurt no one. Had he defaulted, it would have hurt somebody, but he didn't default. So where's the crime? There was no crime. It was a crimeless crime. There was no crime, and instead you have SBF that actually stole money from people, took money out of one fund and sent it over to another, then gave out millions to politicians, and they kind of laugh it off on him. They're not doing much of anything. There's where a criminal is. He actually did criminal activity. He hurt people. Trump hurt no one, but it's crazy. Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't even a jury on that. That was only the judge doing it. I mean, it wasn't a jury trial. I mean, oh man. Well, you know what? You got to get them straightened out, Jamie. I mean, the Kool-Aid is terrible in some people's mind. I mean, some of them would vote for a Democrat just to be voting for a Democrat. I actually have I used to call him a friend. He's gone off the deep end now. He actually said, "Oh, I know who I'm voting for, 50 years from now," because he said he's got a D beside his name. And I said, "What if it's the devil?" "Oh, I don't care." He would vote for the devil over a Republican. That's how stupid he is. But people are going to do what I'm not a Democrat, or I'm registered independent. I register independent so I can vote for the person that I want to. I mean, I am that independent person because I don't want party affiliation, because there's just as many crazies on the Republican side as there are on the Democrat side. Right now, there's fewer. That's why I'm leaning toward more Republican. But, I do that more for local politics than I do anything. I mean, we've had some local politicians that you want to vote for on the primary and make sure that you could help them. So either or you can do that. But it's crazy. About to lose my voice. But I hope everybody can see behind me. Jim's doing a lot of good work on my Pontiac back here. He's got the wheels all. We're going through the brakes, which there's no brakes at all on that car, and there's we got to redo the floor pan. It's rusted through, but the body is in good shape. So hopefully we'll have our Pontiac up and running before too awful long. I mean, if we get it where we can stop and start, will be in good shape. Yeah, I don't blame you for not voting for Haley. She's a rhino if there ever was one. Uh, she can't even win. She can't even, with Democratic help, win her own state. I mean, that goes to show you how she's propped up right now by uh, the elitists of the Republican Party. I mean, and that's that's why I said there's good and bad of both parties, and we've got an elitist group within the Republican Party that they feel like we need to tell y'all who to vote for because y'all don't have the sense to vote for who we want you to, and that's where you get the Trump loyalists that will say, "Hey, no, we're going to vote for who we want to. You're not going to force somebody like Nikki Haley on us." So that's why. I got to get a Kleenex here. I'm about to sneeze. Y'all don't want to see me sneeze. Whoops, I'm about to pull too much out. Man. But, well, Mitch McConnell, I think he's bailing out because he sees he's about to get booted out. Bailing and booted is about the same difference for him. I mean, McConnell's not helping any, and McConnell's turned into a rhino himself too. He's bowing to the pressures of the Democratic Party and listening to other people and not listening to what the will of the people is, and tries to push through bills that we don't want. I mean, we don't need that border bill, as they call it. If it was a border bill, it'd be different. It's not a border bill. It's a Ukrainian bill. It's a Ukrainian-Israel bill with a little bit about the border. Anybody that can see that we're sending billions more to Ukraine, which I don't think we need to spend another dime in Ukraine. If Ukraine beats Russia, fine. They're not a NATO country. If they lose, so be it. Let Russia have them back, is what I figure. They'll be better off than us spending billions of dollars. I mean, some people may think I'm harsh at saying that, but we got this because of the fact that we aggressively were pushing to put them in NATO, whereas I mean, that's telling Putin they're infringing on my territory. NATO's trying to get right up against me, and that's why he didn't want that. And it's crazy. It's crazy, but we don't need to be spending our resources over there to protect them. I mean, it's not right. We're wasting our money that we could spend at our border. Protect our border. Don't worry about their border. Seal off our border first. I mean, we look like a fool. We're over here trying to fix somebody else's boat that's going under when our boat's got a big hole in it. I mean, fix our boat first before you try to fix their boat. I mean, that's stupid. We're going to drown in our own debt because of Ukraine. And anybody that can't see that is in bad shape. But what do? I'm trying to back up here to what everybody's saying here. Oh, I know it, Joey. He's talking about the illegals. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. We've got to secure our border. I mean, it's taken, thank goodness Texas has got Greg Abbott, because he has shipped these people to all these cities to say, yeah, we'll take all the immigrants. And when they got a taste of their own medicine, they're realizing how bad it is. I mean, they just got a small taste of it. They're taking millions in down there at the border, and they're disseminating them throughout the United States. Uh, and these big cities who say we're sanctuaries. Well, yeah, we're sanctuaries until you actually send me the people. And then once you send me the people, oh, well, I don't know if I'm sanctuary or not. And now we're going to have to change our resources so we can protect all these immigrants who turn around and fight and litter and take up all of our resources. All of our resources are going to them to help. And people are realizing, you know, you need to fix the United States first, not anywhere else. Yeah, yeah. They took Biden close to the border. They took Biden to a part of the border that was cleaned up. Now, who in their right mind? I mean, anybody that's got any sense at all has seen. Why didn't they send him down to Eagle Pass? They didn't want to send him there because he would see the real border problem. But you know, it is what it is. Well, guys, I'm about to lose my voice again. I can only talk so long. I hope everybody's had a good week. We've been busy on the car back here. Jim's been busy. I'll say we. I'm sort of like we shot the bear, but Papa had the gun type thing. So Jim has been working diligently on the car, and we're trying to get it straightened out, get it where it's more usable. One day will show us driving it. But y'all take care. I'm gonna get out of here because my voice is going. So y'all take care. I'll see you around. See you next week if I don't see you before then. See ya.